All right, guys, welcome in. Sports Tonight, Emily Gagnon, Ellie Parker in the house tonight. And you know what? Ellie really has a great rundown for us today.
Oh, thank you.
A lot of these topics
Thank you.
she came up with. And quite frankly, I look at, and I'm guilty of this, I look at like UGA, Falcons. I do the very quick sweep of like the big teams, right? But you do the quick sweep of like the worldwide.
If you want obscure stuff, I have talked about Japanese college football on this show.
And it's been interesting. It's been really, really good. So that to say, like when you're on the show with me, we talk about a broader spectrum of things versus
I
just
try.
like
I
the
try.
obvious. And I appreciate that. And I will say, I did ask you for that first topic. I was like, Ellie, we got to talk about Falcons.
We do have to
start
talk
this
about
off.
Falcons.
And Ellie is so good about this. She didn't even have the Falcons on there. And that's not because she didn't know it was happening. That's because she had bigger, broader topics to talk about that are happening worldwide, not just here in Atlanta, but that affect everyone. So
That said,
I give you mad props.
this is the first day of Falcons training camp.
So they
did come
reported
in.
today.
They reported today.
Yes. So this morning, very early, they reported. This is when they're excited, right? Like you're walking into camp, you got all your luggage, you're ready to go. I've been talking about it the last 2 days about how once they get to Flowery Branch and get on quote unquote campus, they don't leave for like 2 to 3 weeks. So they actually stay in dorms in Flowery Branch at the facility. So the way it works is like you have the main building in Flowery Branch from their facility, which would be like the weight room, the cafeteria, where players meet, coaches' offices, like the main building. Behind that, you've got the fields that they practice on, and behind the fields, you've got the dorms. And they look just like apartments, but that's where players stay for up until at least after the first preseason game. There's a pool. There's like a clubhouse area. I mean, they get to like hang, they get to do all kinds
So
of
I
things.
I would not. What you're telling me is I would not be against staying in these places for 2 to 3 weeks.
No. And
That
like,
sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah, and because they're like dorm style, you have your own room. I mean, you have roommates, but you have your own room, right? So think of it like you're back in college. You have your own room. I don't know if they share bathrooms. They might, but there's living rooms. I mean, your situation is a pretty like good situation.
Okay, to be fair, I hated my roommates in college.
You
so.
did? I chose all mine, so I like them. And we're still like lifelong friends. But we were friends before we lived together. So
Yep, I just want.
every single day to get accomplishments. I don't know what I want to say. Like get accomplishments accomplished. But yeah, report day today for the team. Tomorrow is the first day of training camp. Ellie, 9:30 start in Flowery Branch. Unfortunately, I don't know if we've mentioned it on here before, but I'm sure we have. The fact that fans cannot attend this year. For the first time in a very long time, fans cannot be there like on the hill watching practices. Usually they open the first 10, 15 practices to fans. That is not the case this year. It's not because they don't want the fans there. They're not trying to keep anything secret, even though it is a great year to keep things secret. But they're having construction, even for us, like the media can't even park inside the gates. I mean, there's no room for us. There's no room for anything. So you got to park outside the campus grounds and then like walk over or whatever, get bussed over. So yeah, any expectations before the season starts? I'm sure you're going to say you're excited for the quarterback situation. That's what everybody's
Obviously, I'm excited
about.
for the quarterback situation. I did see some of the fits that these guys were arriving in. Kirk Cousins, the several $100 million man, arrived in a Hawks jersey.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah. He's a man of the people, Ellie.
Man of the people.
He's
Man
a man
of the people.
But I will say, one of our directors Alex asked me last night. He's like, so when are we going to see Penix Jr.? Like, when do you think we're going to see him? And I said, well, if Kirk has 3 bad games in a row, obviously if he gets injured, then fair game. But let's say he has 3 bad games in a row, fans are going to start calling for Michael Penix Jr. And I wouldn't put it past Raheem to not put him in. I'm going to tell you why, because like Raheem, he's in his first season.
Is my question 3?
So yeah, 3.
At least from a fan perspective,
you want more or you want less?
I think the fans are going to give him less.
Less?
I think it might be 2 games if he has, especially in a row.
Really bad games. Yeah, I don't know. You know, once you pull a quarterback, it's sometimes tough to get him back. Even though Cousins has been doing, I think it's like year 14 or 15 for him. He's been doing this for a while. But I do think if he has a string of games where he's not doing very well, you know, we might very well see Penix Jr. and like I believe that you know, Raheem Morris wants to win. He's in his first,
Obviously.
you know, head coaching gig with the Falcons. He has a lot to prove. He wants them to win. And I feel like even though he was there when Kirk Cousins, like when that move was made, he has no real loyalty to anybody.
Yeah.
But to the organization. And he promised wins.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. But maybe
Promise
later
wins,
in the
you better
show,
deliver.
we might have some interviews later in the show from Falcons. We're trying to get that
Hopefully.
get that in for you. But if not, we've got plenty more to talk about. Ellie, take it away with topic number 2 of the day.
Oh, it's my favorite
You like the
sports
Olympics
event.
like
I
that?
love the
No
Olympics.
way.
I love the Olympics.
Like, do you like the winter or summer better?
So now, for context, I have been to the Summer Olympics.
Okay, which one?
I went to London in
Okay.
2012. So
Okay.
personally, my heart is always with the Summer Olympics because they're associated for me
Yeah.
with rather positive memories of my family. I went with my dad and my uncle and a couple other family members.
Yeah.
And it was just such a wonderful experience. Probably my favorite life experience.
Really?
Going to London.
All right, so what's your fondest memory? Take us back. Do you have one?
No, the fondest memory I can't exactly discuss on air.
Okay.
But number 2 would be there's this, this is going to sound really weird. There's this department store in London called Harrods.
Uh-huh.
They have really good ice cream.
Oh.
It's the ice cream.
Did you get it once and then force your dad and uncle and everybody to
No,
go
my
back
dad
every
was
day?
the one who was like, we
board?
gotta try this place out.
Oh. Okay. What was do you remember the flavor you liked?
It was, I
Are there,
believe
like,
I had like a
weird
chocolate
flavors?
sundae.
Okay.
I did not have the picture on me. But you know, it's something we still talk about.
Aw.
You know, all these years
That's
later.
a great memory. I love that. Okay, so beyond that, so you like the Summer Olympics the best, but
Yes.
you love the Olympics the most. And what's up with what you got for this year's Olympics? Or
So
this summer's Olympics?
I mean, the Paris Olympics are underway. France and the U.S. soccer teams finished up maybe hour and a half ago.
And they get started before everybody else.
Yes,
in case
the
people
soccer
don't know
teams
that.
get started before the opening ceremonies, which will be in 2 days.
Yep.
The live stream of the opening ceremonies will begin at 1 o'clock. It'll air later in prime time here in the United States. But they're underway. They're starting events. France, obviously, you know, won 3-0 over the United States because, I mean, what else do you expect?
Yeah, for the men's team, yes.
For the men's team.
Yes.
And there are 25, 26 Olympians with Georgia connections at this year's games for different countries.
Very cool.
Most of them obviously for the United States. One of those is gymnast Brody Malone, and our very own Blake Devine got the opportunity to talk to Malone, some of his coaches, some of the people who trained him throughout his life, and really just talked about his path to the Paris Games.
Love this.
Life was a little different for Brody Malone, growing up in Summerville, Georgia.
I loved it up there, the small town atmosphere. Going to high school at Tryon, it was a very small school. I think my graduating class was like 97.
Tryon High Athletic Director Jason Lanham
We made about 1,000 of these to pay tribute to Brody and to just pay homage to him.
says his student displayed dedication and maturity from an early age.
Phenomenal kid, kind, loving, very relaxed, laid back. Not exactly what you would probably expect for an Olympian to be.
Love you, Brody Malone.
Lanham watched in awe as the 2018 grad represented his small school on a global stage at the Tokyo Olympics.
Oh my gosh, Brody Malone went to Tryon High School, is a U.S. Olympian.
kind of a representation that you don't have to be from, like a super big or well-known place to be able to make it in anything.
Yet this wouldn't have happened without sacrifice.
Very few people actually knew what he was doing, all the training and everything that he was actually doing to become what he is now.
Throughout his high school years, this gym in Cartersville was Malone's home away from home as he made the hour-long commute almost every school day to train 3 to 4 hours.
2 hours just travel. Plus, he has to be here 3-4 hours. So it's pretty much after school the rest of the day.
I usually leave the gym around between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, and then I'll get home around 9:45, 10 o'clock, and then eat dinner, go to sleep, do it all again the next day.
Andrei Kuznetsov
But the first thing is a pull up on the rings.
began coaching Malone at a young age.
Anything he was doing seriously. He was trying hard, he was listening. That was telling me that he has a good potential for his future.
I always constantly remind myself there's someone out there that's better than me, that's working harder than me, and I've got to try to beat them.
Willing to work harder than almost anyone else.
And now you're gonna switch. Now airplane position.
The all-around American champion has his sights set on gold this summer.
I'm not just representing the U.S., I'm also representing, all the people who come from a background like me and my hometown and all the people in my hometown. It's just an amazing feeling.
Reporting from Cartersville,
2, 3, kick.
Blake Devine, Atlanta News First.
Jump.
It's a great story, and I'm telling you what, even during that story, Ellie was talking about how excited she is for
I'm
Olympics
super
to get
excited.
underway, and I believe her. Okay, now I really believe her. I know it's not just for the camera. Also, I wanted to include before we move on, 33 dogs are representing UGA at the Paris Olympics.
So
that's a big number.
yeah, that's a huge number.
33.
I think the most athletes representing a single university at the games, at least for American universities, is Stanford with like 50.
Wow.
Which, okay, it's Stanford. They have arguably the best athletic program in the country. Have won a national championship in something for like 50 years running.
I see here,
No one should be surprised.
No, I see here track and field supplies the largest block of athletes and coaches, 22 dogs heading to Paris, while swimming follows with 6 and tennis 3.
And one of the Georgia natives headed to Paris is one of the flag bearers at the opening ceremony. Coco.
Yeah.
Coco and LeBron are our flag bearers for this opening ceremony. I don't think we've had a bigger pair of flag bearers.
Yeah, it says that, so you got to remember, Coco's only 20 years old. Sometimes you think she's older than she is because she's been doing this for a while, but she was just so young when she got in the game. Grand Slam champion in Paris, representing Team USA. The youngest ever American flag bearer at an Olympic ceremony. I should say an Olympic opening.
Yeah.
Okay, get this. This is cool. This is cool information. The Atlanta native dominated as the most Googled young female athlete. 823,000 monthly searches.
That's a mind-boggling number.
That list features also like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Olivia Dunn. They have something around like 550,000 a month, but Coco Gauff has over 800,000. So I think that's great. I've met her. I've done stories with her coach from when she was like a little kid, and you hear from her, and she talks about how Coco, when she was little, would be like, I'm going to be the next Venus, I'm going to be the next Serena. But she would say
she's not wrong.
Yeah,
she's not wrong.
She would say it very humbly, not in any kind of like a conceited way. But sometimes, a lot of times, when you speak things out loud and you believe it in yourself, things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations to her. I mean, I can't wait. It's going to be Saturday night or Friday. The 24th.
Friday night. Friday afternoon, Friday night-ish, depending on whether you want to watch it live as it's happening or the sort of edited opening ceremony.
The pretty
version. The pretty version that they'll
version.
put on TV during prime time. Another Olympian with an Atlanta connection. We have two from the Atlanta Dream. We have
Yeah.
Ryan Howard,
Yeah.
who was selected for the 3-on-3.
And I didn't think she was going to make it. I got to be honest, because she was injured.
Yeah, she was injured for a while. She's
but
still going to make it.
Go get it. Get it.
And we have Letitia Am here, Atlanta Dream forward, selected for the 5-on-5. Team Canada, Blake Devine, again, talked to her earlier this week.
Blake on it.
Blake's on it all the time. So he talked to her earlier this week and got her thoughts on her second Summer Olympics.
Atlanta Dream forward Letitia Mayhew has been picked to play on Team Canada in the upcoming Olympic Games.
It's my first time my family's going to be able to watch me play for Team Canada, so that's going to be huge for me, huge for my family. I have a lot of family in France as well, so a lot of their first times just watching me play.
This isn't her first rodeo, as Mayhew also competed in the Tokyo Games.
Every game feels like a championship game, so I think that's kind of the mindset you have to have coming in, knowing that, you know, every game is super telling of what's going to happen for the next couple games.
Back then, she was only 20 years old, still in school at South Carolina. Now LA's played in the pros for almost 2 years.
When you go overseas, is also a different ball game, so I think I just adjusted to the physicality of the game and getting ready for that.
She joins her dream teammate Ryan Howard in Paris, who's playing 3-on-3 basketball for Team USA. Meaning Mayhew is actually Atlanta's first Olympian in traditional women's basketball since 2016.
They've been showing me love, all day today. So I'm just thankful to have great teammates and just a great staff. Everybody's just been super congratulatory towards me.
Growing up playing basketball in Mississauga, Ontario, her dreams have become reality.
Coming from an immigrant family that decided to come and establish themselves in Canada, and the opportunities that I've been able to afford me, I think that's what I wear with pride whenever I step on the court.
Reporting from Gateway Center Arena, Blake Devine, Atlanta News First.
Blake, killing it.
And obviously the big focus is on the Paris Olympics, but the IOC had a meeting this morning, I guess this morning, our time, to select the hosts for the 2030 and 2034 Winter Olympics.
It's wild how they look so far ahead, isn't it?
And the 2034 Olympics will be coming to Salt Lake City. So
What about 30, do you know?
30 will be the French Alps, so like
Nice.
Provence and Nice and sort of that area in like southeastern France-ish.
Nice. Okay. I'll take it. I think I'll take that one.
But for the first time, and at that point it'll be 32 years since the 2002 games, which were wildly successful by all accounts, and games in the United States tend to be successful. We'll see if LA 2028 keeps that streak going. But
Wait, 2028 is that?
that is summer.
That's summer. Yeah. Okay.
But more Olympic Games in the United States, because we're one of the few countries that can hold them on like 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah. Wait, let me ask you this. What's your favorite event in the Summer Olympics? Like, what do you look forward to?
In the Summer Olympics.
When I was a kid, I vividly remember, like, gymnastics. And I feel like it's
Do you
probably
want me to
still
be
that.
brutally honest?
Of course I do. I don't want any lies on this show.
In the Summer Olympics, it's ping pong.
It's what?
Ping pong.
Ping pong?
Table tennis.
I didn't
Table
even-
tennis is an Olympic
I'm
sport.
not even
These
sure
people
I
are
knew that.
insane.
I'm not even sure I knew that. Actually,
These
I'm sure
people
I
are
knew that.
nuts.
Wait, is that how long has that been an Olympic sport? Like forever?
A very long time, actually.
Really? Do you know
Yes.
people's names, like the athletes? Please, no. There's no way. I don't believe you. There's
I mean,
no
they
way you
change
know.
every 4 years.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Wait. So you're not good enough to be like, a string of like 10 years.
no,
Really?
yeah.
So it's not
Because
like
it-
gymnastics,
It
where like
no.
Simone Biles hopes, like all those things. This is
And
very,
for
Elliot,
the-
I didn't know.
For
I
the
did not know.
Paralympics, because
Okay.
hi, I'm disabled, I care about the Paralympics. It's
Yeah.
archery.
Archery. Very good.
So
Okay. I love learning new things, especially about you. And guys, we didn't mention Tanisha Wright, the Dreams head coach, but she will also be in Paris. She's helping coach Team USA. So what an honor for her and all the other coaches, players. I mean, that's awesome. It's going to be a great time here in just a few days.
Speaking of Olympians,
Speaking.
Taylor Wiley is currently in Paris as part of Team USA's soccer team.
And he, too, is from right here in Georgia.
He, too, is right here in Georgia. Was part of the inaugural under-12s team for Atlanta United way back in 2016 before the MLS Cup even began play.
Yeah. He was like basically like a tester. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He came in like not knowing if it was going to be successful.
There's an argument to be made he is the franchise, and they have sold him on to Chelsea in the Premier League.
Yep. Which, like, oh my gosh.
Is huge.
Yeah. Like
It feels a little bit like watching one of your high school buddies or someone you knew in high school make the NFL.
yeah.
That's this level.
It's huge. I think he's going to play for Strasbourg first, and then Chelsea. So you might not see him with Chelsea right away, but he'll eventually be there. I mean, what an opportunity. And I've had some people ask me on Twitter, is he going to be, because Chelsea's coming to town, I think, next week or the week after. And he will not be with them when they visit Mercedes-Benz Stadium to play here.
Because he'll be in Paris.
Yeah, or in Strasbourg. But expect him at some point, probably within the next year or so, to be playing with some of the biggest players there is in soccer. And again, congratulations to him, because, I mean, you see like a lot of star players come through Atlanta United and get transferred to these clubs, you know, overseas, but this is like as big as it comes.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, awesome, awesome for him. And the fact that he, you know, is from Georgia and he was a homegrown little kid to what he is now is fantastic. Nicola. Nico is what they call him with the Hawks. Bad news, right?
Bad news.
What's
Bad
the
news.
news?
He fractured his foot during a summer league game.
I think, was it game 2 of the season?
Believe it was game 2.
It was 2 or 3. It was very early.
It was July 14th, so that would have been very, very early on.
Yeah.
Had surgery to repair his left fifth metatarsal bone,
Thank you for that.
which is like one of the bones in your toes.
Okay.
And the Hawks are now saying he's out until November.
When I
So-
saw that, I thought, November? That's a long time, Ellie.
I mean,
But when you think about it, the season will
the season will begin in like October. So
But still, he
hopefully
was a
this does
draft
not.
pick.
Yes. Second round draft pick of the Hawks
looked
this
like
year.
There was potential.
Yep.
But now this is just a setback for a major comeback. You know, that's what athletes like to say. So we certainly hope to see him sooner rather than later. But are they like the Braves right now? I mean, we're very early and we already have an injury. The Braves, their first half and second half of season starts the same way with injuries. It's almost wild to think about, Nelly. I don't know if you've seen this because you've been off the last few days, but Whit Merrifield from the Phillies, the Braves signed him.
The Braves signed him, and he
Utility guy.
immediately gets injured in practice.
Yeah, you go out on game 1 of Monday, game 1 for him, you know, with the Braves, and you're taking grounders before the game. And like the ball just kind of hits you weird in your finger, and you split your finger in half, and you can't even play. Yeah, exactly.
My finger hurts just thinking about that.
I think he had like 4 stitches put from like his finger into his nail. And what's wild about that is that describes the Braves perfectly.
Yeah.
They can't get out of their own way when it comes to injuries this season. Though I think he'll play sooner than later. It's not like he's not going to play. But
Still, ow.
yeah, exactly. And right now, the Braves were supposed to be playing game 3 of 3 against the Reds. Of course, they played a doubleheader today because last night's game was delayed, or not delayed, was postponed because of the weather. But yet again, you know, the final game of the series is postponed because of the weather. So 7:10 start as of now. It was supposed to be like 6:05. But the first game of the day, Ellie, they lost. 9-4. So they've lost 4 games in a row. They start the second half of the season 1-4.
Yikes.
It's definitely
Especially with the Phillies just destroying all comers.
correct. So this is a tough season, and they keep suffering injuries. You and I have not talked about the Ozzy Albies injury, but it was his wrist. He fractured his wrist. It was so weird too, the way he did it, just like a freak accident. So now we get their top prospect in his place, Nacho Alvarez. Love the name. Think it's the best first name there is. However, those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
You hope he can bring a spark to the clubhouse. But beyond that, what do? Austin Riley's out on paternity leave right now.
Which, congrats to him.
Yeah,
He left in the 9th inning of the game 2 days ago, I want to say.
Yeah, but go
Yeah,
handle
go.
business.
Go be with your wife.
You're not gonna have there's no repeat of that situation. So unless you have more children, but that's understandably. You can't control that either. But they really, I don't know if you heard this, Ellie, but players were talking about it yesterday. How they had a players-only meeting. Snit had no idea about it. When reporters asked him about it, he was like, "They did what?" He had no idea. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it should be, even if he was lying to us. But and Snit doesn't really lie, but he, or at least it doesn't appear he does. That's how it should be. Players, if they want to take this seriously, they need to get together, look themselves, in the eyes, and try to fix what's happening, take accountability for their actions. But this team certainly isn't that used to what's going on right now.
Oh,
Max Fried is out.
Max Fried is out.
Michael Harris II is out. These guys are
Harris,
all out.
Strider, Acuna.
Yeah, Acuna and Strider season ending, so obviously we won't see them again. But at
Matt
some
Olson
point-
may as well be injured because where has his bat been?
Yeah, and so you want to blame it on the injuries, but then also you're like, okay, offensively, I think entering today's game they had been outscored 21-11 in their last 3 or 4. So
That's not good.
no, a lot needs to change, but it is what it is. And I've gone on a rant after we're talking about Nicola. So what's on your mind, Ellie? Do you have anything on your mind?
Have you seen this NBA media deal?
The what?
The deal that the NBA has now signed with
No, but you were talking about it, and I was waiting to hear about it because I like to hear this info on the
with
show.
Disney and NBC Universal and Amazon Prime.
Okay.
$76 billion.
How many years? Do you know?
11.
11 years, 76 bill, and then
That's just an
when does it
insane
start?
amount
When
of
does it
money.
start?
I want to say it begins next year or this
All right,
this
and
year.
all the games are going to be on those ones. And they're not going to be anywhere else.
No.
Seriously?
So ripped to inside the NBA.
Okay, so you said it's going to be Disney, so that's ESPN.
Disney, NBC Universal, and Amazon Prime.
Strictly? So is that where, okay, so if we want to watch the Hawks, is that where we're going to be watching the Hawks?
Probably.
It's because, Bally's went bankrupt, and I still don't understand or know what's going on with that. But Amazon, I think, is the one that, bailed them out, right?
Yes, pretty much.
So this all makes sense now. Okay. All right. Well, those
That's
are
a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but those are the major players, right, in the game. But that just shows how streaming now is just, cable is just a thing of the past.
Mm-hmm.
I still have cable. I'm like, all my
I don't.
girlfriends make fun of me. I'm an old lady, and I have it. But I
I don't.
also have all the other things, too. The Hulus and the whatevers, and I just probably spend too much money. But that's my own personal problem and not anybody else's. But pretty soon, it sounds like I just need streaming.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a very interesting thing. And Ellie, I think we're
Yeah,
just so interested.
we're running out of
We gotta
time.
go. Yeah. It was a pleasure speaking to you all today, especially for me to be here with Ellie. We'll do it again tomorrow. Have a good night.